I can't go anywhere. I'm locked in. It is what it is.
Right.
But the same thing with people. So when God removes someone out of your life, you have to trust it. And you have to let those people go. And you cannot chase them. It's like people are like seasons. Spring is over. Keep it moving. It's another season. And when you start letting people go like that, everything else will start moving a lot faster.
New year, new levels. And it's really funny. Well, it's not funny you said it because I clearly don't believe in coincidences. But you know me personally, so you know what goes on in my life. And
some
you
doors won't even open until you shut the others.
Ooh, I was about to say the same thing.
They won't.
I was literally about to say the same
You have
thing.
to close the door on not necessarily a person, but a person, an opportunity, an experience. You have to make. I mean, there's like all these different things. You know, like I'm not one to. What was that you told me? I don't necessarily. I carry guilt, but I carry guilt for however you worded it. It was like magic.
I'm magical.
It was magic. So that's clearly something that I'm going to have to make peace with this year.
You like it? I'm serious.
So that I can open up another
I
door.
can magic. I don't know about y'all.
But you said something. I don't know what it was. It was like
Said something
prophetic.
fabulous.
It
Imagine
was.
that.
I know. Right?
Why need you to remember it?
I'm trying.
You want to share it with the world. But it's exactly what you're saying. You know, having that faith and walking into the new year with four new levels and having that faith in yourself and in your intuition and you know that inner voice. And I was watching something. I was watching Dr. Matthew Stevenson. He's apostle out of Chicago, and Lord knows I want to go to his church one day. But anyway, I was watching a service for the new year, and it was talking about embracing your difference. And you are here for your purpose to be different. He said, let's look at Michael Jackson when he came out. You know, everybody's looking at, you know, his hair, his style, his makeup, and all this.
Very different.
And him, right, him and Prince. Mm-hmm. You know, coming out with a man coming out wearing heels, a man coming out with a perm, you know, with his suits and the colors and the ruffles and all that. But guess what? The women loved them. But what was an identifying factor for each of them? They were different.
Yeah, they were different.
They were very different. They didn't walk the same walk as everyone else. They didn't, you know, try to be like everyone else. They were exactly who they were. And, you know, I don't know them personally, so I don't know what path or at what point, you know, they walked in it or if they were always like that. Some people just have it and they're always like that. Some people find it later in life. But it's embracing those differences within you because that's what the gifts that you were given. And so I offer that to everyone for 2018, you know, to embrace your differences no matter what they are. You know, even with artwork in here, you know, you can see the differences, but everyone is attracted to different things. And it's your difference that is going to take you to the next level. It's your differences that is going to propel you in 2018. It's not you being like everybody else. And so many times we find comfort in being like everyone else, or you know, it's okay. And I can say that for myself on so many different, you know, situations. But you know, it's when I began to speak my truth, and when I was like, you know what, forget it. I'm letting go of all the shame. I'm letting go of all the guilt. I'm letting go of my 2 cents. And when I said finding my voice, you know, I was worried about everybody else's feelings. Okay, but you know what? I have feelings too, and my feelings matter, and I need to embrace that and make sure I take care of myself. And so it's taking care of ourselves that we can live the good life, in my opinion. Henry, do you have a different perspective?
No, not really. I do feel
good.
like...
I'm just joking.
I feel like when you look at your life and you really analyze it, you got to ask yourself, what can I do differently, and what can I do to make myself a better person? So I feel like this. Sometimes you have to get out your comfort zone. You have to try different things, and because you just never know. You can't always say no to everything. They had a movie with was it Jim Carrey? And in that movie, he was always saying no to everything, but then then God came down and told him, look, start saying yes to everything and watch how much differently your life would be. So this man started saying yes to everything, no matter what it was, things he didn't want to do, helping strangers, everything. He started saying yes, yes, yes. His whole life just turned around. Forgot what it's called. Might be called Yes Man or something.
Huh?
No, that wasn't.
Bruce
Almighty.
Wasn't that.
But that was a good one too.
Wasn't Bruce Almighty. It's called like Yes Man or something.
I'm gonna find it.
Yeah,
it
was a
tonight.
dope movie, man.
And that's so funny too, because I'm always someone going, "Oh my God, I can't stand a yes man."
But,
Well,
like,
but
I have
it's
to
yes
see
to
it.
trying different things.
It's
It was
a
just
different
because he was
concept, yeah.
stuck in his own world. Like, I don't want to do this. No, that's crazy. I don't like that. But he started saying yes to more things. That don't mean go say yes to everything, because of course you'd be
Right.
in deep trouble if this is real life. But start saying yes to more things and being open to try different things. I always say this: I try anything once except something gay. All right, nothing against gay people. All right, I got a lot of gay friends and stuff. No problem. But I'm
But
saying
you know
for
what?
me.
But that's who you are. You're like, that's
For me, I try anything once. So you say, "Oh, would you drink that?" Yep, give it in. Give it in. Yep. Come on, let's do it. Yep.
Really?
no,
I'm
just
doing
joking.
it. I'm doing it. Yeah.
You're gonna try everything once.
Yeah.
No, because you know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about like really strange, like exotic food, like escargot, like you couldn't think.
Give it in.
Matter of fact,
It's
I would
actually
even,
really
I would
good.
even eat
Give it
I
in.
know.
oysters. Absolutely. No, I've never had an oyster in my life.
Really, I will eat
Yeah.
your portion.
You can have it.
Oh my gosh, I love oysters.
I don't eat crawfish. I can't get past the smell.
See what I'm saying?
I hate boiled
You know how
crab.
good crawfish
because look at that
is?
disgusting yellow
See, that's
gook
life.
in there. Oh,
See, that's a perfect example of how life is, though. You see?
I don't eat steak.
See, look at that.
Well, I don't know.
I can't even tell
You know what you're missing?
No.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, no,
You don't know.
Ugh.
Hey, Pierre. Do you know what you're missing?
Yeah.
Well, for new levels, and that's it's a conversation today about new year, new levels of life, and peeling back the layers of who you are. Henry gave a great intro today about not leaving, becoming a new person, and it's becoming a better version of who you are.
Yeah.
Not forgetting your lessons and your growth through the years, because so many times we do say, "Oh, I'm a new person." You just kind of like you leveled up. And so I believe that I'm going to be, not that I am going to be, I am a new Eileen. I think maybe, have y'all seen it, a little bit of it? A little bit? Well, not now.
I think you're magic.
Oh, she thinks I'm magic. I love you. I love you. But you know what? That's what, and that's what having your friends are. And she's my wonder twin. That's a whole other conversation. We might have a show about that.
We should have a show about
We
it.
should. We should have a show about that. We can talk about it now. If you want. Oh shit! I can say shit. I'm not on AM anymore. Go figure. Anyway, long story. But truly. Well, you know what? Why not?
Does everybody have a wonder twin?
I don't know.
Well, because are we going to
What am I
about
soul
twin
sister?
flames too?
We can talk about all kind of stuff. Henry, you ready for this consciousness conversation?
Yeah. What's
This
up?
Okay,
is a
good.
little deep.
Um,
I don't
wonder
even know if
twin?
the rest of the world is ready.
I don't care. Well, that's the whole point of having the
Well, I don't
conversation.
really care either.
That's the whole point of having the conversation.
Let me hear this. Go. Wonder twin. What is
Do you
it?
want to start it? I'm gonna let you start it.
Go ahead, and then I'm gonna piggyback. That didn't come from me.
The Good Life. And I don't know. Like we should start the show all over because it's a whole nother show. But no, because it's new levels and new conversation. It's about opening your mind to living differently in the world. And I've always been on a spiritual journey, but it exploded about 3 years ago. And when you are in this process, you start to feel kind of weird. You feel crazy. You're like, what's going on? They have certain people around you who just don't understand. People will literally fall out of your life because they're just reason
Close the
season of
door.
lifetime.
They
And
expired.
you
Milk
literally,
you have to go.
they expired. And you will have new people come into your life. And I've had so many new people. And what I found is I've had more conscious people come into my life because God brought them. Because just like they said, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And when you are growing as a student, your friends are going to change because you are bouncing off each other and learning, and you're all growing and taking it to new levels, consciousness, awareness, enlightenment, whatever you want to call it. I'm just next level now. Personally, for those of you who don't know my walk, but I do walk in the prophetic, and it's so interesting because I would just get information where I know. Like, true story, when it first started for me, and we were Ursula is she's an artist, but she does home do-it-yourself. She does all kind of stuff. So we had to go to the hardware store because she was on some new project for her kitchen, and so
I remember that.
And so I was like, we were leaving the store, and I was like, Ursula, God told me to tell the cashier that it's gonna be okay. And I walked in the car, and I got back in the car, and I was like,
but should I do it? And I was
and
like,
you're
yeah.
and I was
go
like,
ahead
and
and
God was like nagging me, like, I told you to do this. You have to go do it. So I was like, okay. So I went back in the store, and I was like, oh my gosh, this woman's gonna think I'm crazy, and I think I'm crazy. Like, you just I just can't explain why. I know
I made
stuff.
her do it.
I
I told
literally
her
just
she
know
had
that
to
she
do it.
did. And so I went back in and I told the cashier, and luckily nobody else was there because I was like, oh God, this, I don't want to say it's embarrassing, but I felt like, anyway, so I went back and I told her, I said, you know what? God told me to tell you that it's going to be okay. And you should have seen it. She just stopped for a second and tears started rolling down her eyes and she told me thank you. And then I was like, okay. And then I went back to the car and I was like, Ursula. And I told her, she was just like, and I just felt lighter. Like it was just like, he was like, atta girl. Like, I'm glad you did it. And you laughing at me, but it's so true. And so it was just like walking and stuff like that. And I have a litany of
I got a ton of messages for you.
I have a litany of
I just never given it
conversations
to you.
like
You're not ready
this.
yet.
I have
That didn't
really?
happen. Yeah, he's not.
Oh, I might have to do this
Tell
off
him
air and
messages.
tell you.
He's not
Yes,
ready.
like you'll be around people and you just know stuff.
Yeah.
Like it happens to me so much now, and I've given so much information. But you're right.
It's like psychics or something?
It's more. No, it's not psychic. It's divine.
Yeah.
It's like you just know.
Yeah, it's not
good
psychic
stuff?
because I'm not dealing with like
Uh-oh.
it's
No,
not like
it's not
yeah.
about being good or bad. It's
Yeah.
just about it's just
It
life.
is, it's true.
It's just
yeah. It's
there's no good or bad. It's not like you're standing next to someone and you get like a message like, "Oh, tell them that their socks don't match." No,
right.
no.
It's like-
it's like messages like
Like I'll know something about your life.
yeah.
Or I can.
Or I know how you feel, or I can pick up on
Feeling is
Well,
probably
hold on, we got
the
to talk
easiest.
after the show. Hold on.
like
hold
the
on.
Yeah.
uncomfortableness or
Yeah.
the insecurities, or like sometimes you pick up on pain.
Oh, I pick up on pain all the
I
time.
pick up on pain
I can't
a
be
lot from
around
certain people.
people a lot. Like people with heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I physically okay. For anyone who's watching or who know, I'm an empath. So is Ursula, and that's a
We
whole
can
other
pick up
conversation.
on.
We
yeah,
should
we're
probably
like
start
all
the show
over
with
the
that.
place today.
I know, but it's
Yeah,
new.
all
It's
good.
new levels and new
God said it's
conversation.
okay.
Girl, God, that's the only reason it's coming out of my mouth because clearly this is the conversation He wanted us to have. But it's like I figured out what type of
And we
empath
needed
I
it.
am. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not, that didn't come from me.
I pick up on like how you're feeling, and I know what type I am now. I respond to how you're feeling, what's going on in your life, and I'll usually say something about it, not even knowing what I'm talking about.
Mm.
And
Yes.
I've had literally unconsciously. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm better at it. I don't want to say better because if I'm
Once
doing
you
it
know.
now I know. I'm doing it. If I'm doing it unconsciously, God didn't even want me to know that I'm doing it. If that makes sense. I'm doing it to help you. Like I'm a healer. If that makes sense. And it's crazy because a lot of people who have this, and you'll know, people have conversations about their life to you out of the blue. Like so many
It's like,
people
and
tell
then
me
they'll
their
say
life
things
story.
like, I don't even know what I'm telling you.
Yes. They're like, I don't know what
But
I'm telling you this, and I'm like,
something
now I'm
about
like,
you
I
just
know.
made me feel like I could say it, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Right.
I've had so many like random strangers, like never met before, have those conversations that now it's like, okay, what do you want to talk about?
Right. But it's because you're going to give information or advice. Number one, it's divine. And you're going to give information and advice through love and compassion, tolerance, understanding. I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means. Lord knows that I'm not. But I do try to give a perspective that may be different from the most. And I had to find out recently, a type, and I was like, oh, that's why I do that, because that's kind of the spirit that I have and I embody. Because if you want to open your mind, we're all spiritual beings having a human experience. You chose this life. You chose what growth you were going to go through, what transformations you had to go through. You just don't necessarily remember that you did it, but we all did. Mm-hmm. And so it's about opening your mind and walking through those walks, because if you don't learn your lessons, if you're not open to different things, we're going to be right back here doing it all over again with an erased memory, just trying to figure it out. So if people are like, why are we, and now going back to the counselor, but this is good that we have both sides, because we can give a spiritual side and Henry can give us the counseling side, because it's like, from the spiritual side, you're gonna.
His skepticism is kicking in.
Yeah, it is, and it's cool.
Yeah, I'm like, man, this is some
It is
crazy
cool.
woman stuff.
No, it has nothing to do about being a
You
woman.
feel so
See,
uncomfortable right
I know
now.
because I can feel it. I do, and that's why I said we're going to give you the spiritual side and let him give you the
You
other
got to
side,
bring me up to
because
speed.
I know we'll have to have a, and that,
Oh,
but
no,
that's what
it
it's
is.
about. It's about opening people's mind. If we can do it for you, we can do it for anybody listening. And so I'm going to give you a spiritual side, and you'll give the counseling side per se.
All right.
Like I said, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and you're here to learn a lesson. You chose whatever your path is before we got here. You chose what it is. So we're here to learn a lesson. So if you don't learn it, you're going to continue to get it. And so people are like, why do I meet the same person in a different body?
Because you haven't learned your lesson.
Because you haven't learned your lesson. And so you can take that from a spiritual side and put that into counseling, because why do we meet the same people, Henry? From a counseling perspective.
Because you're attracting the same kind of people because you haven't changed whatever you needed to change about yourself. That's why.
So it's the same thing. And what I have learned on this journey, which I truly believe, Lord knows He's getting me to talk today, because this is all divinely inspired.
Oh my God,
what the
Henry
good
feels
life,
so
I know, what the good life is all about.
On my neck stand
What the good life is all about for me at this point in my life is really about merging the spiritual with the level of understanding at wherever you are at. Because we're all on a journey. Because clearly, years ago, if I would have been having this conversation, I would have been looking at you like Henry's looking at you. But when you have those spiritual experiences where you know it's nothing but God, and I'm going to ask you this real quick. Have you ever had an experience where you were like, you know it was nothing but God?
He's not going to share that with you.
I would. All the time. Yesterday, day before.
She's like, yesterday.
Month before, yeah.
But you know what? I asked
All
that
the
to
time.
somebody in their 70s, and they told me no.
Dang. They probably don't believe in God.
No, they do.
What?
They do.
So that's the
Don't
main reason
recognize it for what it
that's
is.
the main reason I do believe in God, because I have friends that don't believe in God. I don't judge them. We still friends
Yeah.
to this day, but they can't convince me that there's no God, and I can't seem to convince them that there is a God.
That's
But
how
I've had
good this feels.
But I've had people ask me that question, like, so why do you believe in God? And I'm like, look, it has nothing to do with what I was taught in school, nothing to do with the Bible, none of that. It's really things happen in my life where it's unexplainable. I don't have that much good luck in the world. Ain't no way. Ain't no way I'll be where I'm at.
It's not luck, it's favor.
Yeah, right. So better word. There's no way in the world I have that much favor. I'm not that great of a person. I'm decent.
Well,
but
let's be clear.
Grace and
Favor has
mercy.
nothing to do with.
Right.
I'm glad you said that. Favor has absolutely nothing to do with the type of person that you are.
What is it then?
You get favor when you walk by blind faith. Anyone
Oh,
can
I do
have
that all the
favor.
time.
Anybody in this world can have favor. I don't
Yeah.
care who you are. The minute you decide to walk by blind faith, you have favor.
Yeah.
So it's not like God's looking down and He's going, oh, okay, well, I'm going to give this one some favor and give this one some favor. No, you walk into your favor when you walk by blind faith.
Right.
So that's favor.
And it's like having the jump. Like, I can give you a great example that I don't know if I've shared all of this, but I will. I left AM radio, 3 weeks ago? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not know at the beginning of the week that I was leaving AM radio.
Yeah.
I went to bed Tuesday night, and God was like, Eileen, this is your last week on AM radio. And I was like, okay, really?
It's like, is that what we're doing?
I know. And I was like, but God, like, we don't have a plan. Like, I don't know what we're doing next week. Like, I confused. And so, and I had been without a car. My car was in the shop. I was trying to, like, whole nother conversation. But nonetheless, my car was in the shop. And so someone had invited me to a luncheon. And so this is how, y'all, synchronicities, coincidences, there are no coincidences. Someone had invited me to a luncheon, and I did not have a car. And for all of you in New Orleans, it was in English Turn. So y'all know from mid-city to English Turn, it's a jump. And I was like, I do not want to even Uber there, because I can imagine. But, you know, if I had to do it, I would, nonetheless. So I'm just like, ugh. So I talked to one of my girls that morning, and I was like, oh, what are you doing today? She was like, oh, I got to go work this luncheon. I said, really? I said, in English Turn? And she said, yeah. I said, can I get a ride with you? And she was like, absolutely. So there goes that. So I'm like, okay. So I actually did a rebroadcast on AM that Wednesday, and I went to this luncheon that literally my business, I don't think it has nothing to do with, but I knew I knew people there, and I was like, let me go. So I sit down at the table, you know, I know people, blah, 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 blah. So there is this guy that I know that comes in, I guess, you know, after everybody had sat down. So I noticed him because he was the only one walking. So anyway, he sits down. When everybody's like getting up and mingling, he comes back to the table and starts to say hello. Well, he has on a pin, I'm not going to say of the company, a pin of this company that I had been trying to get in touch with for 2 weeks, but I hadn't met, they hadn't returned my calls or anything. And I was like, you work at ABC? And he was like, yeah. And I said, I've been trying to get in touch with somebody for, you know, the radio show, blah, blah, blah. I have something I want to do, blah, 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 blah. And he said, oh, you need to talk to ABC. And I was like, I know ABC. I was like, thank you very much. Appreciate you, guy. But guess what? And so after the event, I got in the car, called the person, and the person was like, "Oh, I had already thought about you to match up with this. Let's get together and move forward." And I was like, and I literally had tears in my eyes, and I was like, "Thank you, God," because that morning I had decided that I wasn't going to be on AM, and literally 4 hours later at an event, I now knew my next steps. But if I had not made that conscious decision and told God and sent my letter and trusted His timing and sent my letter of resignation, and that I was leaving that AM station and had done that and been final with it, I would not have gotten that. And it all started playing itself out. I didn't know how I was going to get there because I didn't have a car, and all of that just started playing itself out. And from there, everything has just been going on, including my app. And so for all of you who are watching right now, make sure you go down the Good Life Radio Show app on iTunes and Google Play, because even that, when I first started, I tried to get my show on the app. And they have the pictures and all that. I could not get this app to work for every life-breathing ounce of me. When I did it just now, after I left the AM station, it took me 30 minutes to put it on. I'm like, I don't know what was different, but it was divine timing. So we have to walk into that, and we have to open our minds and pay attention to the synchronicities. People like, oh, it's just a coincidence. I was talking to somebody, and they were like, they were in a deep sleep. They woke up at the perfect timing and saw something on TV and it related to them. It was something that they needed. Right. They're like, oh, what a coincidence. I was like, do you really think that was a coincidence? That wasn't a coincidence. That was God waking you up to watch what you needed to see on TV so you could take your next step. And if you keep taking those steps to bring you to the next place, God is going to lay out the path for you. And I believe faith is like this. And I use this example all the time. I'm going to continue to use it because I believe it's something that it's easy for people to digest. It's like driving at night. And you have your headlights on. Your headlights can only see, 100 yards or not even that, 30, 40, 50 yards, whatever it is. And it's driving at night. But you know that there's going to be road when you get to the other end. You have faith. You know that it is. It's something you don't even think about. And that's what having blind faith in God is. It's knowing that when you get to that next 30 yards, that your headlights are going to give you and show you what is next. And so that's just what it is for me, and that's what it's been with Growing the Radio Show, because not only are both of my apps up, but I'm now on iHeartRadio, and I'm under their podcast, so you can follow us there as well. Because when I first uploaded it and submitted our show to iHeartRadio, they told me no twice. And I was like, what? Really? I had followed every guideline that you had. And then this past time, when I uploaded it, I didn't even pay attention to it. I didn't even follow it. And when I went back on to upload the next show, the iHeart logo was there. So that's just like a short, I guess, story or idea of how walking in faith works. And it's just like just taking that jump in and walking. And you can say the same for, doing the gallery. Mm-hmm. Because when I met you, you didn't have all this. You were just kind of doing art in your house, huh? She's like, so you want to kind of tell the story of jumping in faith?
I mean, it is crazy. I was like,
yeah.
First it was like out the living room.
Yeah. Out her living room, and now we're sitting in her gallery.
And then it was like out of studio in the house that I have now in Florida, because I have like a whole studio. It's like 600 square feet. But, yeah. I mean, it totally works. Yeah, and then now
and now we're sitting in her entire gallery. But if you had never jumped, God's like, oh, you're going to have
there were a couple moments where I totally had I was terrified. Because from DC, I had 3 Louis Vuitton stores, and then I came down here, and then I worked with a very good friend of mine with Louis Vuitton. But Louis Vuitton sent me all over the world, and I was making a ton of money with them. You know what I mean? So for me to stop and then do this, the first year was rough. Oh my gosh. I can remember after I went through all my savings, literally counting change and trying to figure out, all right, kids, what do y'all want to eat? Y'all want ramen or peanut butter and jelly?
Right.
This is going to work.
Right.
This is how much. This is what I got left over. This is what I have. And literally every single time that I thought okay, God, I know this is what you want me to do, but I can't do this because I started with foundation first. This came after.
Right.
I would try to get a retail job, and you have to think my luxury retail history is obscene.
Right. Yeah.
I could not get a job to save my life.
You know why? Wait.
Okay, fine. I'll do what you want to do.
But I want to make that point because that happened to me too. I was trying to, the radio show or clearly was not clearly, but was not up to the standard level of living that I was used to. And I'm
Right.
like, Lord, this is difficult. It is a struggle. Please
It
help me.
is.
Like, and I kept trying to fall back on what I was doing. And you know, I got to like the last two candidates, and I'm like, I got this. And God said, no, you don't, because I don't want you here. I want you to have faith. And I'm
Right.
like, ah. And you're
And
like,
it was crazy. I literally was like, because I would literally like, I was arrogant. Like I would sit down and God be like, okay, look, I know you want me to. This is what I know. I know you want me to do. We're not gonna do this right now though. I got bills to pay. I got kids to feed. I got a house. So check this out. We gonna parking lot your idea. I'm gonna go get a job.
right. How did that
I was
work out for
extra
you?
arrogant. He was like, oh really? Okay, I'll wait.
How'd that work out
And
for
so
you?
then I literally always come out like, okay, I can't get a job. Now what are we gonna do? Like,
But isn't that the worst feeling in the world?
It's
Where you're
crazy.
like,
'cause
God,
it's like, you know
you
it's
told
yours.
me you got me. I've been doing everything you told me to do. You know what? I'm just trying to
You know
like
what? I
rob
just
Peter to
started
pay Paul
asking.
and make these ends meet so I can
started
take care of my
asking.
child.
Instead of me telling him what I was gonna do, I started asking. I was like, okay, look.
Ooh, what'd you say? Instead
I
of
started
telling
asking.
him what I was
started
doing, you started asking
I was
him
like,
what
God,
he
the
was
mortgage is due. I gotta feed the kids. I need help. Boom! Like it would be like in minutes, I'd get a call and it would be like a $5,000 commission in like a doctor's office, all right?
You're like-
and it would happen again. I get like a $4,000 commission like in a law office, and I'm like, oh my God! Like I don't want
As
to
soon as you
compare
did
God
what?
to a genie, but as soon as I asked,
Girl, God is a genius.
it happened.
But what
It
did
would
you
be
do?
like minutes.
I'm gonna give you the word. What did you do?
Oh, I had gratitude. I was thankful.
But there's another word.
What I followed his.
Surrender.
Oh, I did.
You surrender. When you surrender to the will of God, I'm not kidding, stuff opens up. And Henry, I'm about to give this to you because I know your life and I know your 2 cents, and I'm about to tell your business. Because I'm gonna tell you how you've recently done it, and you don't even know what you're doing. I
Go.
think you know what you're doing, because when God wants you to change, He makes you uncomfortable.
Go.
And you have been really uncomfortable in your
Oh, yes,
in your
that's
breeding
true.
business.
Yeah.
So maybe
Because
that was
God
your
has
season.
wanted
Now-
you, and look, this is prophetic. God has wanted you to do something else, but you were like, nope, I'm gonna stay with these dogs.
Oh, yeah.
God, I want to do this. This is my thing. I want to do this, but that's not your passion.
Mm-hmm.
But it had great
So
money,
He
huh?
forced you out of it.
And so,
Yeah.
and then when it started changing a little bit, you were like, really? But that's not what He wanted you to do right now.
Oh yeah, definitely. I got some
Look.
things in the work. You know,
I
got
know
some
you
things
do.
in the works, but for sure. I mean, I was in that business for 17
Tell me
years.
about his passion makes him feel uncomfortable. It does.
He's embracing it.
Yeah, I mean-
he's steadily. But
It
you know
makes
what? We
you
can say
feel
the same
vulnerable.
thing. Yeah, vulnerability.
I mean, I'm still uncomfortable, like leaving.
Oh, no,
the
I
whole
wasn't
dog
asking
thing
you, I was
alone.
telling you.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's be clear.
I didn't know if I want to talk
you
about
were
it.
getting down there. Look, he's like, and it's okay. You don't have to talk about
Yeah.
it. But the point is,
That's what I was saying to tell
that's
you.
for all of
You don't
us.
wanna talk about it.
Yeah, no, you don't have to give it all. You don't have to
Yeah.
give it all. Look, but it's okay. But it's you're going through your growth process right now, and I didn't want to mean to put you on the spot, but kind of the Lord was like, just open His mind to what He's going through, because you are walking into it, whether you know it or not.
Yeah, I'm a type of person where I hate change, but when I'm forced to change, I'm excited about it. So, I mean, because you can't do anything, it's time to change. You have to change.
2018,
And,
new
you know,
year, new levels.
You see people stay in relationships too long when they really shouldn't, and they're not. How you looking for Mr. Right or Mrs. Right?
They drinking expired milk.
Well, right.
No.
Hey, but check it out. You stuck in this relationship, and you just keep on giving years of your life, and the person you really are supposed to be with, you keep waiting. They might just pass you by, go get married to somebody else because they couldn't find somebody, and here you are stuck in that relationship when y'all both should have been doing what y'all supposed to do. And look, get rid of that expired milk, and let's not even drink milk no more. Let's drink some orange juice or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm going to bounce off exactly what you said, because I believe this. Number one, there aren't any coincidences. But number two, if someone is for you, they are for you. I don't believe that you can run away from them. Literally, there are certain spiritual relationships that you can't run away from. Whether you're meeting them, right, that's a whole nother conversation. Whether you're meeting, we have some of that right now too. Whether you're meeting them
you feel
in
it
your
as
30s, whether you're meeting them in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, or your 70s, they will come back around. But the same way you're like, if they're not ready for you and you're not learning your lesson and you're not doing your work, they're going to pass you by. Yes, but they're learning their karmic lessons of life, and so are you. And we can make decisions that prolong our journeys because we have free will. We clearly have free will.
Right.
And so if we're prolonging the journey, we're mirroring each other. So I may have to work on ego and pride. You may have to work on maybe a certain addiction. Or just like you said, maybe one of your things is you stay in relationships too long. So maybe that's one of your lessons. So the longer you're in that, you're mirroring my stuff, so the longer I'm in mine. And it's all about coming into a balance. That's really what life is, coming into a balance. And you have to love yourself before you are going to be able to get. And I'm not saying get into a relationship, because you see people in relationships who aren't in necessarily the most loving relationship. You can have a relationship, but it may not be that soul relationship. It may not be that lifelong spiritual. You can have a relationship. I'm not saying that, but it's not going to be those.
I'm saying comfort because a lot of people stay in relationships for comfort.
Yeah.
Convenience.
What are you saying? Yes, lots of people do, and I'm raising my hand. I've been one of them.
I have to.
And not even physically in relationships, because I want you to go to that too. You've been in relationships where you emotionally. No. I mean like you're not even in a relationship with them. You haven't been with them on a date out, hang out for 7 months, but you're still emotionally in a relationship with them. We do that way too long as well. And so for 2018, I peel back those layers of who you are and take those jump to release them. I call them, they're soul ties, they're hooks, they're energy vampires, they're like spiritual frenemies, but we stay in those relationships too long as well. And I'm sitting here to say that I've done it as well, trying to, and knowing where I am spiritually. I want everybody to live the good life. I want everybody to be on that. But you have to be ready for those journeys, and you have to be, I don't want to say ready for those journeys, but yeah, you have to be, I'm trying to think of the words to say. You have to be ready for that journey, but it's also spiritually, aware and spiritually open to those things, and nobody can tell you when it is. It's just going to happen for you, and it's going to, like, nobody could have told me where I'm going to be now. Nobody could have said on whatever in 2014, in August of 2014, that was going to be the moment where you just enlightened and whatever. Everybody's going to have their different time, and when it happens for you, it's such a blessing, and it is a journey, but it's just being open to that walk. And honestly, there's so much shift in the world right now. They have so many people having these conversations and open to it that I just believe 2018 is going to be a new level of consciousness. And for all of you political people, I honestly have to thank our president, because I do believe that he was a force in the shift for us to open our minds to love, because he spread so much fear that it forced so many people worldwide to look at it from a different perspective. And like, we don't want to live by fear. We don't want to live by shame and guilt and anxiety. We want to do it a different way. Just think about like the Women's March after he won. Do you think all of those women would have come together? If not, that, right. And so, you're seeing all these different groups of people come together that necessarily wouldn't have. And so that's what the good life is about opening your mind to love, compassion, tolerance, and understanding, and just walking into it in so many different aspects of life, whether it be with your partner. I know we're here on Relationship Tuesday talking about, different perspectives, but the Lord guides this show. I don't. I just, am his vessel and I speak it. But it's opening it in specifically in your relationships, being a little bit more tolerant in your relationships, looking at what you need to work on. Because if there's one thing I've learned in 2017, it's when I change my behavior that other people are going to change. We like to point the finger and they do this and they do that, and they don't respond to me to this, and he don't show up and she don't cook and whatever it is. But when you change your behavior and focus on yourself and do your healing, and I mean true healing, like that childhood hurt feeling, like your parents worked too much so you felt abandoned, like you were in an abusive family environment, you were in a bullied at school. When you start healing, or even taking steps to heal those wounds that our ego has taken over to protect us, And when you start saying, you know what, ego, I got this. You know what, I can be a whole person, and I'm taking my power back. I don't need you to fight my battles for me. I got this. That's when we're going to start, walking into our purpose and our passion and living a good life. So,
I have something I want to discuss.
please.
Pointless relationships, and I don't mean intimate ones. I mean like pointless friendships. So, are you friends with people that you either A, can't learn anything from, or B, can't benefit from?
I had been in the past. This year of 2017, I can say these past 3 years, and especially 2017, I can say probably I don't even have friends from before. I have one childhood friend from like 7th grade, but other than that one friend,
Right.
I mean, I have acquaintances, people that I've been cool with or whatever, but I don't call them my friends.
Right.
And speaking to that, I have a whole different level of definition of friends and what I call them, because you're actually one who opened my mind to that and how loosely that we use that word.
Yeah, we do.
So
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, we do.
Oh man, we do. The simplest way to figure out if somebody's your friend, if you were stranded at 3 a.m, would they get up out their bed for you?
You were stranded at 3 o'clock in the morning. Would they come get out their bed for you? Interesting.
And they got to work in the morning and all of that. What would they do? Would they leave you hanging, or would they come help you out?
Reason, season, lifetime, better figure it out. You know what? Maybe I'm going to test that theory. Ursula, you get out your... No, I'm just joking.
And look, not to
I know
sound
she
like-
would.
And not to sound like a person that like is all about using people, but as I'm talking, I'm thinking, I don't think I have any friends that I A, can't learn anything from, or B, can't benefit from. Like using people is just, I feel like you can benefit from me and learn from me, so why would I want to hang around somebody that I can't benefit from and learn from them?
I don't think that's using people. I think that's kind of what life is supposed to. We're supposed to give and receive love freely. And I believe helping each other is loving someone in a different, everybody says love and you think of romantic love. I think of love as in, being truth to somebody.
Right.
And my new definition of love, of being truthful with somebody and having that exchange.
Right.
And if we can't have an exchange, if you're just taking from me and not giving anything back, not making any deposits, what does this really look like?
Right.
How can we grow? And I had to, eliminate a lot of that. And so for 2017, like I had conversations and emails with people that I may never even talk to anymore.
Right.
But, I may have said my piece, and there are some people that I just didn't need to say anything to because honestly, you know what you did, or you know what the circumstances are, or us having a conversation really isn't going to change anything.
Right.
So if having a conversation really isn't going to change anything, then I'm just kind of leave it there. It is what it is.
Right.
But definitely friends, I value those at an entirely different level because I don't call everybody my friend now. And I'm much more free with the word of acquaintance because that's what you are.
All right, I got another question. How far would you go to maintain a relationship with a family member? Like, let's say if they don't want to talk to you no more, they are being distant, what would you do? Would you reach out to them continuously, or would you just let them be?
I'm going to be.
Me too.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah.
Because
I was about to learn something just now. I was like, "Oh, he's talking to me."
you know what? Speaking of divine intervention, there's no coincidences. So maybe this conversation is for you.
But I'm saying that because my kids at an age, I got twins that are 4, and I have a 1-year-old that's about to be 2. Now, if they were adults, and let's say we fell out, it'd be hard to let that slide. It'd be hard to just say, I'm not going to worry about that. That's my kids. I'd be like, boy, you crazy? I didn't change your diaper. Ain't no way you're going to fall out with me behind nothing. We're going to fix it. But me being an adult and not, if I have an issue with an adult or they have an issue with me, I just can't see myself continuing to try, knowing it's not going to change. So family or friend, I just feel like me personally, I try to an extent, but I'm not gonna put myself in harm's way. Keep trying, get my feelings hurt, or you know, I'm only do so much.
Right.
So I just wanted to get your opinion on how far would you go? Are you the same, or are you different?
I personally feel that you can't have a conversation with someone until they're ready. So just because I'm ready to have a conversation does not mean they're ready to ready to have a conversation. And speaking of it, I'm kind of like in a situation right now. And so I've just had to accept the apology that I was ready for,
That you-
whether they were
That
ready to give it to it or not.
Right.
And so I'm going to accept that apology, and it's not for them, it's for me, so I can have peace. Because I was worried about, you know, them. And not saying, you know, not sending them love or whatever, but I need to take care of me. Because if I don't take care of me, who's going to take care of me?
Right.
And so, take care of me, protect myself, protect my my energy, and also give them space to do their healing, because you don't know what their situation is, and they are responding, and not take it personally, because they are responding from where they are in life, and they can only give you the amount of healing that they have come to in their life. Because I may be more advanced, not in a judging way. I just may be more advanced at where I am, and they may be, you know, at a different place or have more things per se going on and aren't ready to have those type of conversations. And it's okay, but you know what? If they're supposed to come back, if they're supposed to be in my life, they're gonna come back when it's supposed to, because there are no coincidences. God is a wonderful God, and sometimes you just have to let divine timing be it. Because when we force things and we force our opinion and our will, it generally does not work out the way it's supposed to, or it generally does not work out in the best. Because why? I've tried it, and I failed, and it's been painful, and you know, you'll have more rejection that way. You know, if you're mad at me, and I'm trying to force a conversation on you, and you don't want to talk, how does that work out?
It's not.
It is never going to work, and then you're even more mad, more upset, and more
Why you came
annoyed
at me?
why you're coming at me. Right? You're like, because you're
Right.
not ready. So, you know, let me take care of me, heal whatever I need to do, because guess what? I need to figure out why I'm even annoyed that they're not responding to me.
Yeah.
Think about that. Take a moment to figure out why you're annoyed that they're not responding to me. It probably has something to do with like rejection and abandonment that you dealt with in your life. Because we should be able to accept somebody else's position without intruding on their personal space.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We should,
Right.
in theory,
Right.
and in life. And that's a big lesson, not just for me, but for everybody. Think about that. We should be able to accept people and their boundaries without imposing on them. Just like, here's a great one. Colin Kaepernick, he wanted to take a knee. Does that really affect anybody in their everyday life? When you're watching the football game, did you really even notice him unless they put the camera on him? No.
Think about how much that got blown up, man.
I'm like,
Jeez.
it wasn't even the point anymore. But people were taking it personally and wanted to have conversation. I'm like, it had nothing
People
to.
get mad.
Yes.
I sat down last night for the Super Bowl, and people were like looking, and you could tell the energy. It was like it was changing.
You know what's crazy about that?
Why?
I've been sitting down for the national anthem, not for a reason, just because I don't be caring about all that stuff sometimes. I might be eating nachos or something. I don't want to stand up right now.
I
And
got-
I just don't do it, but I'm not trying to be like anti-patriotic and all that. I'm
you
just,
hear the stuff behind you. It's like, oh, so they just feel like, and I'm just sitting there. So I pull my
well,
phone
now
out.
for sure.
I pull my phone out and I'm like recording and taking selfies and stuff. And
Yeah.
like it doesn't make you mad.
Yeah, there's something wrong with
Yeah,
them.
that's-
Yeah, man, that's crazy, man.
But think
you know
about
how
it.
many years people have literally not stood for the freaking anthem.
I've been doing that
and
since
all
high
that
school,
stuff.
man.
Wait,
Since
time out.
high school.
The national anthem wasn't even played
Thank
for
you.
so many years.
And let's be
The
clear,
actual anthem
the
wasn't
NFL
even played.
I mean, not the NFL. The military pays to have it played. Like all that, you know, the Air Force flying over and all that, they pay for that. This is paid advertisement, folks. The NFL is not like extra patriotic. No, they send them a big old hefty bill for the anthem and for all that other little extra that they do. Let's just be real clear on that. That is commercial. That is literally because they were trying to amp up enlistment. And they did it when most men watch television, which is when?
Football.
Football. Wait, hey, don't be discriminatory toward the women. I like
No,
football.
I'm telling you.
No, bro, I'm
Yeah.
just playing.
No.
I'm just playing. But that's the entire point of this.
Right.
So think about all those people who initially felt like you stabbed them, or it hit a nerve for them. Why?
Unbelievable.
And but that is the level of consciousness that where we are. But you need something to trigger your change. And so I think it's a good thing because it made a conversation of why does that personally get you riled up? They have people who shut down their businesses behind this. What are you taking this so personally for? What is there behind this that it's patriotic? Are you standing up in your living room?
Right.
Look,
I'm serious. Are you standing up in your living room?
I'm gonna go
Do you have a flag in your house where you pledge allegiance to the flag
Of
each
course,
and every
the
day?
Confederate one.
But here's the
I'm
deal.
about to tell
But
you.
here's the deal. It's idolatry.
They pledged to that.
It's idolatry. If you are that passionate behind something, you really have to start looking at it as idolatry. Because I'm like, there is nothing that can make it used to, but I'm on my journey. There's nothing now that can pull me that much out of myself. And if I do, I have to take back a sit and like, what is going on and what lesson am I supposed to learn? But that's where I am. And I'm not judging people where they are on their journey because they'll get there this lifetime or the next after that. But you really need to start looking inside yourself and seeing what is it triggering and why am I so upset about it before you go out and have conversation. And if your reaction is going to promote love, tolerance, compassion, and understanding, well, by all means, continue to have that conversation and go spread that. But if your reaction is spreading fear, anxiety, stress, guilt, and shame, if your response is going to guilt somebody, if your response is going to shame somebody, if your response is going to, supposed to instill fear into somebody to discipline them to listen to you, then you need to check yourself as to why you're doing that. But most people can't do that yet. And it's okay. But I pray and I hope that you get there.
Look, stuff rarely bothers me unless it's somebody who knows me. So like, if you know me and you call me, let's say, I don't say the word on there, but if a stranger called me a B, right? I wouldn't care.
You can say it on there, we're not on air.
I don't want to do it.
Right.
But let's say some dude on the streets, a stranger, he said, man, he a B, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could care less because he don't know me. But if it's somebody I know and they say that, now I might feel something because I'm like, okay, show me then. Because if you really think that you know me,
But
then
so
show me I'm
what?
that.
Regardless if you know him or not, you still got to consider the source.
Well, you
If
do.
I know I'm not, I
You
could
do.
really, honestly, whoever you are, care less about
Yeah,
what you say.
you're right. But I guess it touches a little bit. It touches me a little bit if they know me and they say something like that. But like when I moved in St. Bernard Parish, I've been living there almost 8 years now. Man, they had Confederate flags on people's houses. The neighborhood I live in is like 90% white. But guess what? It didn't bother me at all. I'm jogging in the morning. I'm good. I ain't tripping about nothing.
Their relationship with you and seeing how you are and how your family is going to help change their mind and open their mind to living differently in the world.
Yeah.
And that was prophetic right there for you.
But
Because I'm sure you've changed some of your neighbors by being there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got good neighbors. I mean, I've never had any racist stuff come my way. But when I first moved there,
That you know of.
that I know of. But my mom pulled up. My mom pulled up when I first moved there. She pulled up, got out the car. My mom's darker than me, so she's brown skin, like I'll say. And so she got out of the car, and somebody at the red light, at stop sign said, nigga, like that. And she was so offended, I was like, man, people still doing this? I felt like I was back in the 60s or something, like, but it didn't bother her. My mom got money, she good. So it wasn't that serious, but it's like, man, people still doing stuff like that.
Yep. But that's what you're seeing all across the country. But there can't be change until there's a bubble or it hits an explosion. You can't change because everybody's been hiding it for so long. And now it's at a point where we're like, it's okay to say how you feel, but, and there are certain movements, I'll just put it that way, that have made people more comfortable to let their discrimination flow freely. Let's put it that way. Hang out, right. And so, but if that were never happening, how could you transform? How can the world change? there's always some big movement. There's always a certain push when there's a big change. Think about Martin Luther King Jr. and his movement of love, basically, and you can look at it through the opposite way with Malcolm X, because he was on the opposite end of it. They were both for the same thing, but they were taking two pathways to get there. And then when Malcolm X went on his journey and he came back, he was transformed. So you can't make somebody do it. They're going to go through their transformation, and whether they realize it, it's all spiritual. That's where I am with it. Whether you realize it's spiritual or not, and you just feel like you're going to a counselor and going through a growth process, it is what it is, whatever it is for you. As long as it's love, tolerance, compassion, understanding, I don't really care what you call it, because I'm not here to judge what you call it. Every religion is here for, I'm going to say every religion, but, if that's what they're promoting, then I'm all for it. How you get there is your process, and we all have to meet our maker and deal with what we did in life at that point. But my point is, everybody goes through a process, and you're going to hit that moment at a different time. And it took, that change, that shift, that transformation, or that aha. And I just think in our society, that's what it is right now. And if you want to change racism, you have to be willing to have conversations about racism. And until we're able to have racism conversations on the forefront, how is it ever going to change? So look, it took this whole presidential election of fear and hate mongering for people to start having these conversations. Because how many more people are doing that? Think about that. Where they weren't before. Y'all quiet. So nonetheless, we're about to wrap up the show today, and I just want to leave that thought for you today on Relationship Tuesday. How, for 2018, how can we start having new levels of conversation, new levels of consciousness, because that's what the good life is all about. Love, tolerance, compassion, and understanding. And for 2018, it's a lot more conscious conversation. I had been holding back my prophetic gifts for quite a while now. Henry,
but you open your mind.
I did open my mind. I wasn't willing to talk about it publicly probably for scrutiny. To be perfectly honest, I didn't want to be judged. And in the church was the only place I felt comfortable having those conversations and being around people who, walk in that walk. But I have to embrace who I am, and how we started the show about embracing your differences. And that's how I'm different. And so I'm supposed to walk in that and spread those messages, and that's what I'm going to do for 2018, a lot more openly, and not really care what other people say, because I'm planting a seed and it's going to grow. It might grow today, next week, or 5-10 years from now. I don't know, but it's not for me to worry about when it grows. I know I'm on my walk, and I know I'm doing my passion and my purpose, and that's what we're here for. And Henry is doing the same. I'm really excited. He's embracing his vulnerability and walking into his, and Ursula has done the same. And it's all about supporting each other on that journey. So that's what the good life is all about. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. I'm going to give them a moment to say their last and final thoughts for today's show.
No, I don't. Just don't drink expired milk.
Don't drink expired milk.
Don't do it.
Henry.
2018, all about getting better.
All about getting better. Peel back those layers. Open your mind to living differently in the world with love, tolerance, compassion, and understanding for yourselves and everyone else. Y'all love each other. And we are out. Yay! Wait. See? Y'all can leave it. It's on.